Hello everyone, this is Matt from Real World Review. I'm still shooting outside, and today I want to talk about why I think that the Google Pixel Fold is kind of the best, but also has some problems, but it's kind of the best fold right now. Now, because I know I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff, I'm going to pin this right here, and hopefully it doesn't ruin the audio. But to start, the one thing that I love about this is the size. This is the Pixel Fold. This is the iPhone 16 Pro, and you can already tell it's a little bit shorter, and this is the Pro, not the Pro Max. Then we have the Nothing Phone 1, and yes, it's in a case, but even if I drag it down a little bit, still much taller than this phone. This is a 5.8 inch screen on the outside, and I believe a 7.6 inch screen on the inside. The funny thing about this is this has a better ratio on the inside. The biggest problem that people have is these little bezels that you see on the top and on the sides, and a little bit on the bottom, which I thought was terrible too until I started using it, because I like the fact that the camera is just up here. It's an 8 megapixel camera. No, it is not the same as this one. And why? I don't understand that, because I can do face unlock here, but if I open the phone up and I try to do face unlock, no, I can't do that. That's kind of annoying. I think that's like an 8 megapixel, and the one on the outside is like a 10 megapixel camera. Really dumb. I don't know why they did that. Also, the little option where you go to take a picture and there's like a look at me thing. Let's see. Oh, made you look. Yeah, how it has this little thing right here to show that off. If I cover this, it's because it's using that front camera. I don't know if you can actually see if it'll focus on me, but yeah, see how it's using the front camera? It's not using these cameras, which I kind of understand, but that is a little annoying that they do. Also, the continuity. So let me try to show you this real quick. So see how it's like, showing the camera, kind of. Now it shows the camera again when I swipe out. Yeah, that wasn't a thing. What would happen is you would close it and it would just lock the phone, which sometimes is fine, but on other phones that didn't happen. It would actually either continue on to the other screen, or it would ask you if you want to continue on to the other screen. Something that I know Motorola's did, and the first one I know that Samsung's did. So why they didn't do it on this, I don't know. Another thing is the hinge. The way that it opens is it doesn't open perfectly. There we go. It's not focusing perfectly flat. You can kind of force it, but even with this crease, you can still see that that's not what it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to fold flat like that. That being said, those are really my main issues. I wish the outer screen was a little bit brighter. Honestly, I wish the outer and inner screen was as bright as the Pixel 9, which I believe the Pixel 9 Fold kind of fixes that issue. But when it comes to the build, I like it. It's this nice alloy steel something. I don't know exactly what they call it, but it's not stainless steel, but it's also not aluminum, I guess. The fingerprint scanners in the power button, which is nice. I like that. If it was under the screen, it would be cool, but they would have to put it under this screen as well, which is whatever. I like having it on that. Like I said, this is like one of the smallest phones that I have. I think the iPhone 12 mini is a little bit shorter, but this is a dramatically small phone in a good way. Like it's nice and wide, so you can actually hold it in your hands. It's not like super narrow and super short. It's a decent size. I love using this phone, and I think that there are some downsides, like maybe the battery life isn't as good as you would like it to be, but it does get the job done. Maybe the performance is not as good because it is essentially a Pixel 7 Pro, which is kind of weird because the Pixel 9 Fold is a Pixel 9. So they didn't really do anything with the 8, and it kind of was like the OnePlus Open, where this was the newest phone, but also it made sense because they made this halfway into the 7 series cycle. So of course they're gonna keep selling this when the 8 is out, even though this is not as superior as the 8. But we are running Android 16. We have the 3 normal cameras. We have the ultra wide camera, unfortunately that does not focus. We have the wide camera, which does focus, obviously. And then we have the 5x telephoto camera. Now, The telephoto camera is something that people complain about because it's like a 10 megapixel camera, but it still looks good. I think that there's no problem with that. Like, for example, if I shoot with the wide and then I shoot with the telephoto, if I look at those specs, the telephoto is an f3 aperture at 14.2 millimeters, whereas the regular one is f1.8 at 4.53 millimeters. Essentially, it's because it's a smaller sensor. So it's kind of like how on cameras you'd see it'd be like 4 millimeters to 200 millimeters. It's because that is based on the size, that's how many millimeters it is. So if they're trying to go for like a 24 millimeter camera, what it'll do is it'll be like 4 point whatever millimeters, and then the 35 millimeter equivalent or full frame equivalent would be that 24 millimeter. I don't know off the top of my head what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's essentially like a 24 millimeter as a normal, and then the telephoto is like 120 millimeters if it's kind of like the iPhone. But quality wise is great on all of those cameras. I do wish that it had the ultra wide being focusable, but you know, I guess it's not really the end of the world. Also, I don't really take macro photos, and could you imagine someone taking a macro photo like this? I don't know. The front cameras also aren't that great either. None of them are focusable, and like I said, you got the 8 megapixel on the inside and the 10 megapixel on the outside, which is not terrible because the Samsung Folds are also very similar. I think the inside is still that 4 megapixel camera because the screen is covering it, but the outside one is also a 10 megapixel camera, and it is not focusable either. So in the foldable scene, it's not that big of a deal, honestly. But having that extra reach, having the 1X and the 5X is pretty awesome. And it's just like this. Like, for example, I can use this. I can use this right in here. I don't have to open it up. Yes, it is pretty thick. It's, I believe it was 12.1 millimeters. I was just doing that on a video. I don't know if that includes the camera bump right there, which is very minimal for a Pixel nowadays. But I think that that is awesome. Charging speed is slower, but it's still over 20 watts, so not bad at all. And we still get the wireless charging too. It is hot out here, kind of. It's like 76 degrees, but this thing is getting warm just because it is black. It's kind of attracting the heat right now. But yeah, this is just, I don't know, it's satisfying. It really does feel like a book, especially because it doesn't fold all the way down like a book. Having this inside screen as an option, not as a requirement. You know, when I use the Samsung Z Fold 2 or I use the Samsung Z Fold 3, even using like a flip, I have to open up the phone every single time I want to get a decent experience with it. It's not something that I have to do on this phone. It's almost something I never have to do, just because I don't need to open it up. This is a solid screen. I mean, this essentially feels like a Pixel 5 on the outside, and then you have a small tablet on the inside. I think this is perfect. I saw this for like 500 bucks the other day. It's a great deal for what you get. You get essentially a Pixel 7, but you get it in the size of a Pixel 4a, but with the foldability of a Pixel 9 Fold. I think it's great. And you know, you get that telephoto lens, which for Samsung was not really that big of a deal. You would get the ultra wide, the 1X and the 2X lens. So for them to just go straight to the 5X, which is a lot, let's be honest, but for them to go straight to the 5X, and I believe you do actually get sensor cropping on the normal one, so you can do 1X and 2X on the regular sensor and then go to that 5X if you wanted to get that apparent alleged 120 millimeter focal length, as opposed to the 24 to 48 millimeters that's on the normal camera. And it folds so well. Like, you don't have to, see if I can focus on that. Look at that. It's just, it's closed. It's not perfect, but it is pretty good. Let's see if I can get, I think that's gonna be the thumbnail right there. But yeah, that's me just blabbering. And like I said, I already said the bad things that I don't like about this. It does get warm, as you could assume. It also does dim when it gets too warm, which is something that's pretty standard on Pixel phones nowadays. I think I started noticing this on like the Pixel 6 or Pixel 5. I don't remember exactly, but I remember using this and going like, why is it dimming? Like, that's so annoying. And then I went back to the Pixel 7 Pro and I was like, oh, that's dimming too. Maybe because the iPhone's dim, I was just so used to it and, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, literally, I mean, everything's good. You got the always on display. The vibrating motor is actually not that bad. The speaker, you got one on the bottom and one on the top and one in the earpiece, which is an interesting design choice, but I like it because then you can actually get that stereo feel, kind of. So this one right here, this one is on the bottom portion, whereas this one is on the top portion. So if you hold it like this, you're good. You know, if you, hello, if you hold it like this, you're good. But if you hold it like this, then you're blocking one of those speakers. And yeah, I've been standing in the sun for a while, so I'm gonna get out of the sun, but I think that this is a great phone. If you can find it at that $500 price point, I think it is still worth it. It is very underrated. The repairability is non-existent essentially because you can get the back and I think you can get the front, but trying to get the inside screen is like almost impossible. At least for me, I can't get those screens and I assume it's gonna be pretty expensive anyway, but for 500 bucks, I think that's a pretty good deal. Now, it is still a folding phone, so they're not gonna be cheap. It's not gonna be something like a Z Fold 2, although maybe that might be a good choice, even though I think that's still on Android 14, and this just got Android 16, and possibly more. You know, it's gonna be following whatever the Pixel 7 Pro does, and if Google does what the Pixel 6 series did, maybe you're gonna get even more software updates. I would say it's still a pretty good phone. The reason why I never got the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is because that was like $1,100 used, and that was pretty much it. I think maybe I saw like a $900 deal, but yeah, I mean, for double the price or more than double the price, I don't think you're getting double the phone. And especially with both of them being made by Samsung processor-wise, you're not really getting that much of a benefit going with the 9 series anyway. You're just getting some of the 9 series benefits. Oh, the other thing I think is annoying about this actually is it does have wireless charging, a decent wireless charging as well. This has wireless charging, the Nothing Phone 1. But what's funny is this one has reverse wireless charging as well, while this one doesn't. The Pixel 7 and the Pixel 7 Pro do. I don't know about the Pixel 7a. I don't think the 7a, does the 7a have wireless charging? I don't think it has reverse wireless charging. I think maybe the 8A has reverse wireless charging, or maybe none of them have reverse wireless charging. I don't know. I never got the option to review either of those phones. But yeah, the fact that it's a first generation device, the screen sizing is great. I do wish it was a little bit brighter. Having a smaller bezel would be cool, but not really needed. Folding all the way, I guess. I don't know. You can kind of include that in the brightness part. And then little stuff like no reverse wireless charging, the weird switching with the cameras, no focusing of the ultra wide or the front cameras. Those are kind of annoying, and that, you know, like look at me mode where you're taking a picture of someone and it goes to the front camera. That's kind of annoying, especially because it's not a focusable camera. Other than that, yeah, there's not really much to say of it being a bad phone. I think it's a great phone, but what do you think? What phone would you recommend over that phone, at least for that $500 price point? Again, reminding you that that outside screen is actually usable. Something like the Z Fold, something like the Z Fold 1 is insane. The Z Fold 2, 3, 4, maybe the 5, those aren't really usable on the outside. They claim to be, and I used to think that they were until I started using these phones. So let me know what else you think is a good price for what you get. Obviously, getting something like an Oppo Find N for $1,000 imported isn't really the best option, but in the US at least, what do you think is a better option? Let me know in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this scene, I guess, and I don't know if you can even hear the rooster roosting. There's deers down there. It's pretty cool. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for being a part of the 1%, and thanks for watching.